Hello, welcome to Act Games. My name is Jeremy, and this is the continuation of our Let's Make a Lich stream of Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. So we had left off last episode at gaining our mythic abilities and being promoted to the Knight Commander of the 5th Crusade, which I'm assuming at some point Queen Galfrey's gonna, I guess, think better of her choice in that matter. I'm going to flip something real quick, so it's probably going to turn the sound off for just a moment. Okay, good to be back now. So what we're going to do first here, well, Erebeth is going to follow us around camp, so that's going to be awesome, I'm sure. Who wouldn't want a burly half-orc lady to escort them places? But what we're going to do is we are going to, not for Ember and Woljif, but we are going to select our mythic abilities for the remainder of our people here. So let's start with Windu. So we've been using Windu as a tank. She's going to get 5 mythic abilities, 5 mythic feats. This first mythic ability, I think, is a fairly easy choice for her. If you're playing on a lower difficulty, you may not want to select this, and even on higher difficulties, you may want to select it a little bit later, but I'm going to select this right out of the gate here, and what we're going to do is take Last Stand. Our mission is too important to fall in battle, and our mythic powers let us endure unbelievable things. Once per day, when our HP drops low, we become unkillable for 2 rounds. You can get healed while you're in this, of course, and if you have health after those 2 rounds, you're A-okay. Now we're going to grab Sela. So, Sela, I believe, is going to ditch out on us at some point, but we're building her currently to be kind of a mounted tank. Because she has the only pet so far, the first choice out of the gate here is going to be Mythical Beast. This is very important because it allows the pet to ignore damage reduction, and then it also gives the pet bonuses to Strength, Dexterity, and Constitution. And in the case of her, the pet is kind of the primary tank, I guess. She's kind of a secondary or support piece of that tanking business. So we'll buff our elk up, even though our elk at some point is going to ditch out on us with Sela. I think we'll choose Nenio next here. So Nenio is a fairly easy choice at this level. We kind of bounce either between abundant casting or enduring spells. Just for my own personal preference, I'm going to take abundant casting. To me, she's very difficult to make useful without the addition of all of these extra spells. She just becomes so much more useful having extra casts. And since we took that, we're actually going to go ahead and hop in here and set them up. So, I'm going to move this down. And technically for the first level, we're just going to take all missiles. Currently, the mage armor is going on the pet. That's really the only person that needs mage armor at this time. I mean, we can cast it on other people, but it's not necessary for us to. Let's see, we have 1 pit. We're going to keep just 1 pit. I am going to drop Bull's Strength down here. We're going to take additional Bull Strength. We're going to take 1 additional Blur. And oh no, she doesn't have Precise Shot. So I'm going to take 2 other Burning Arcs. If she had Precise Shot, I would probably take a couple Scorching Rays. Scorching Ray is going to do more damage to an individual unit, but because you need to roll a ranged touch attack, which she's going to get a -4 at, it's not actually as good as our Burning Arc is, just because we don't have to roll to hit with this one. Again, at this level, we're going to keep one pit. And once we get the 4th level pit, we will stop carrying the 2nd level pit. So we'll always I think there's a pit at every level. We'll always keep one pit of the 2 highest levels, I think. And now that we've made it out of the area where we just get haste, we'll put haste back in our slots here. Let's see, do we need 4 heroisms? Who is going to get heroism go out? Don't really need it for us. Wendu, Elk. Maybe these 2. Yeah, I guess 4 is probably fine. So we'll go with that for the choices there for spells. Next up is Darren. So for Darren, we also have kind of choices of abundant casting, enduring spells. We could get a beneficial curse, which is just an additional curse where he just gets the benefits of it. We also could get, where is it here? Second Mystery, which opens up access to, well, we get other spells for free on specific levels, which is very good for a spontaneous caster because one of the weaknesses of them is they don't get as wide a variety of spells that they cast at any given level, even though they get a lot more casts. Then it also opens up some other revelations for us. I think that's what I had intended to do. Let's just take a look at when next revelation's coming up. Yeah, we get a revelation next level, actually. And I don't recall if there's healing revelations that I really want to take. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead at this level and take our second mystery. And we'll kind of make Darren into kind of, I guess, somewhat similar to Nenio. I don't think I've taken... I should look at that again real quick. We've taken penetration, but we have not taken point blank or precise shot. So we'll make him also into, similar to Nenio, a kind of an offensive caster that will not rely on spells that we have to hit with. And to that end, what we're going to do with his second mystery here, I've seen a lot of people take Flame, which is fine. Flame has some decent things in it. Firestorm, I guess you already get Fire Body stuff. And then you do extra damage with fire. I think we're going to do something similar, technically, because we're taking wind, and we get Storm Bolts, which we already have at the end, but we get Call Lightning Storm and Lightning Bolt, which we don't technically have, which are both also spells that we can utilize. In Flame, we get Fireball, same level as Lightning Bolt, but so just kind of the opposite. We are going to need, probably with the Mythic Feat, instead of taking a feat, we'll probably have to take oh gosh, I forgot the name. The Ascendant Element. So we'll take Ascendant Element Electricity next, in order to make sure everything can be affected by our lightning spells. The reason that I'm going to go Wind is I like the revelations in Wind better than the revelations in Flame. There obviously are other options that you could choose. Nature is a very good option because you gain access to Creeping Doom. Creeping Doom is a great spell. I still remember back when, which was kind of a long time ago, I think it was 2nd edition, we were playing one of my friend's campaigns, and his big bad evil guy, the end boss, if you will, we ended up killing him with just casting a bunch of Creeping Dooms, and he just getting swarmed and not being able to handle. Bones would also be a good option, primarily not because of the spells you get here, but primarily because of you get the ability to become insubstantial for a couple of rounds, where you can do things and essentially not take damage. But again, at least this time we're going to go with Wind. I don't play with Darren very much, or I haven't even tested him very much, so if this doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we'll try it out and see what happens. And we don't have extra spells to memorize with him. Let's take a... So Cam actually has a level 8, where she gets another Hex. And, I mean, we're planning on deviating one more level into Instinctual Warrior, so she won't hit level 8 for a while. She's kind of in the same position as Darren. I think there are more hexes that are of value for her to pick up in battle, though, so it's less of a rush for her to pick up her second spirit as an ability. So again, she's a caster. We have the option for Abundant Caster. We have the option for Enduring Spells. I wouldn't really look at Ascendant Element. I might look at Archmage Armor, but probably not for the first choice. We probably, maybe the third choice or the fifth choice. Archmage Armor might be good. Elemental Barrage is going to be good as well, eventually. Ever Ready is also going to be something that we're going, because we are still building her as someone who wants to get into the middle of combat and utilize her attacks of opportunity, because she's not strictly using her own attacking ability necessarily during her turn. She's really triggering everything based on her attacks of opportunity for damage that she's going to be. I guess let's just talk about the spirits real quick. The two that are, I guess, kind of appealing to me are Stone here, primarily for Stone stability, which for free gives us Trip and Greater Trip. So we don't need to gain access to the intelligence in order to get those abilities. However, I looked around quite a bit and I couldn't figure out a way that we could access the usage of these abilities faster if we took Stone. So the thing that we're probably going to end up taking is Nature. Nature, unfortunately, doesn't give us... I guess we talked briefly about Elemental Barrage. The other thing that Stone gives us is Touch of Acid, which automatically enchants our weapon with Acid after the 11th level. So it would be more beneficial to pick up Elemental Barrage if we were going with Stone also. And this of course is free. Then you get a couple other free things at specific levels. Nature, we get these abilities that we're probably not going to use. Let's see, standard action, Shaman causes a small storm of swirling wind and rain to form around one creature. The target to true. So essentially we make a target, kind of like using a blind spell on them, but a really weak version of the blind spell. But at the 11th level, any weapon we wield is treated as a thundering weapon, which is actually slightly better than a shock weapon. Thundering on a crit, well, I guess it doesn't, I don't think it does anything on a normal hit, so it's not better in the case of trying to access Elemental Barrage. It's not better, but it on a crit it blows up and sends damage outward. Spirit of Nature, whenever we're reduced below 0 hit points, we automatically gain fast healing and kind of get some life back. That could be good or could be bad, because of the fact that the enemy, if it's still standing on top of you, might decide to smack you again just because you have some hit points back. And then finally a companion animal. So we, not for quite a while still here, but we'll gain access to a pet. Oh yeah. And I don't know if we'll take this ever. We entangle a single creature, go to our charisma modifier. That's a maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt we'll actually use this. So the primary reason that we are actually looking at this is specifically for the bonus spell aspect of the wolf. What aspect of the wolf allows us to do is to use trip as a swift action. So we'll have to get trip and or greater trip by finding an intelligence helmet in order to boost our intelligence and actually gain access to the feats, and we'll have to take the feats. But aspect of the wolf will allow us to utilize trip while still utilizing our other hexes and or spells during the course of the round, and or vital strikes. So that's what we're going to take for this level. Then I think she should have additional spells that she can maybe memorize. Can get command. I don't want command instead of in person. Can get bark skin instead of bull strength. I mean, that's kind of a trade-off. We kind of want both of those anyways. We're gonna put Owl's wisdom instead of restoration or lesser restoration in here. And these we're going to keep the same. Nature's Exile is, I would say, is not a great spell. So Aspect of the Wolf is going to be a 5th level spell, so we still have a couple levels before we're going to gain access to that one. Let's see, did we finish? We finished up back here. There's just ours left. So we are going to be a Mythic Hero. And we're, just for flavor, we're going to go ahead and take the Lich First Ascension here, Dance Macabre. Dance Macabre is going to give us, at the first level here, is going to give us the ability to channel negative energy. So we'll be able to, it's similar to the Cleric ability, but we'll have negative energy, so it's heal undead or harm living, or 2d6 plus 1d6 per mythic rank, so currently 3d6. We will have, let's see, it's a will save. The DC is equal to 10 plus our mythic rank, which is going to be 11, plus charisma, which we have a decent amount of, I think 7 currently is the bonus we have in charisma, so it'll be an 18, which is not a great DC at this point, so likely things will currently save against that, but as we gain levels, it'll actually ramp up quite a bit. Creatures healed, yada yada, cannot exceed, can channel 3 plus mythic rank. So the maximum that this is going to get to is 12d6, which is a decent amount of damage, especially if you can hit a lot of multiple things with it. But we're never going to be able to do it a ton of times, and it is a standard action. The better part of this is at 2nd level we actually gain +4 bonus on saving throws against death effects, +2 to armor class, saving throws, weapon attacks, and damage rolls against creatures with negative. So that's actually very nice. Getting the extra saving throw bonus against death effects. And we become immune to negative levels, which is also very nice because negative level. And for our mythic ability, similar to all of our spellcasters, we could look at taking Archmage armor, but that's kind of best later. We could look at taking Abundant Casting. We actually have a bunch of spells currently. This would still obviously be good, but we're not in danger of running out of spells at levels most of the time. So our first level spells right now, we already have as many casts as Nenio now has after she's taken a buff. Let's see. The other thing, enduring spells, we don't actually have a lot of buffs that we're using on our character currently, so enduring spells isn't. Maybe later it's something we want to look at, but it's definitely not something right now. So the two that we're kind of flopping between our secondary bloodline, and if we picked secondary bloodline at this point, we would be looking. We've already got the Red Dragon bloodline. I don't know why this is available for us still. This is what we have currently, so we can't technically select this one again. But we could select Gold Dragon if we really wanted to have another extra +1 damage per die roll. What I'd prefer is Elemental Bloodline Fire. This will give us the Elemental Ray ability, which just gives us another kind of weak attack, but it's something that we can use a bunch to kind of cast instead of our cantrip, essentially, for a while. Would give us Scorching Ray and Burning Hands, which we've already selected, so kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It does give us Elemental Blast, which this is so this is kind of like just a gimme fireball a little bit, I guess. Elemental Movement is actually really nice. We get an extra 30 feet to our base speed, and then Elemental Body makes us immune to sneak attacks, crit hits, and fire damage. The actual main benefit to this, it doesn't show up here, I don't think, but we can make all of our spells, any energy spells, do fire damage instead of energy that they would have done. So our negative energy spells will do fire damage instead of negative energy damage. And then they will gain the benefit of the +1 from our Red Dragon, and the other thing that we're looking at, of course, would be Ascendant Element, and we would choose Ascendant Element Fire. So they would also gain the benefit of the Ascendant Element, which is going to be choose one energy type, yada yada. The damage of that energy type can no longer be prevented or reduced by energy resistances or energy immunity. And bonus works on any damage you deal with the chosen enemy. So I think what we're actually going to do first, because we have spells already that are doing fire damage, we're going to choose this one first. And then the next level, I'm going to have to debate a little bit between getting Mythic Spell Penetration or the second Bloodline. But second Bloodline will either be the second or third thing that we take here. And then we'll look at Abundant Casting, because we'll have Lich abilities or Lich spells by that point. Although there are things within the Lich spellbook, apparently, that just void spell resistance anyways. Energy resistance and spell immunity anyways. So let's see, we have some extra abilities here. We have... Let's pull this over here for now. This is heal. We'll put heal on the bottom, and we'll put image up. We'll kind of leave it like that. So we'll save the game here real quick. We're going to run around and people and do things like that. We'll look at, depending on how far we get, we'll look at leveling Woljif and Ember up near the end. So does anyone have anything to say to us? I hope we meet Discari and Baphomet soon. I have numerous questions for him. Alright, back to the storyteller. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory and on acquiring mythical powers capable of casting down the strongest of demons. Have you decided to join the Crusade? I've decided not to, I'm afraid. My path and the path of the Crusade lead in the same direction, but alas, they are not yet one and the same. After the demons were driven away from Canabras, the path into the World Wound became open, if only temporarily. I'm planning on using this opportunity to visit... It doesn't matter now. I'd hate to bore you with the details of my venture, which may prove useless even for myself. However, I'll try to return to the Crusaders and aid them in their confrontation with the demons after I'm done. I hope to meet you again, in this world rather than the next. Well, I got that page you were looking for from the Grey Garrison. I see. Myself. Young, energetic, able to see? Oh gods, have I found the key to my past? Finally, I will find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. Thank you, Mr. Lickman. And please, follow me to my story. Let us embark on this journey together. They are leaving. The people of Kyonin faced the coming Earthfall and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers, all of them hurried to the gate. Severian, looking around fearfully. A clean, safe world is waiting for them there. My people decided not to fight for Galarian. I am ashamed, and I am sorry for them. Their hearts wavered in the face of the catastrophe. But my will is strong. I am staying. My kinfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decision with my recklessness? My choice makes them cowards, traitors of their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a neat notebook, a tree bark cover. In case you change your mind. With a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watch the gate of the Silverian stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go, too. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about traveling between worlds. In case you change your mind, he hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much. I will lose heart and find my way to Silverian. That will never happen. My mouth set stubbornly, I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. Why did the elves decide to flee and not fight? They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter the fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. Your mentor is a mage? Then you must be too, yes? Yes, I am an archmage. This title is well-deserved. I have acquired delicate mastery and succeeded in many areas of magic. But curiosity has always pushed me toward new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. What is the Severian Stone? A magnificent crystal bent into an arch by a mighty hand of ancient divine creator. Our great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. Why are you angry at your fellow elves? I spent many hundreds of years in Kyonin. I've always admired the way my kinfolk cared for the forest that was our home. But the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Galarian. All its places. All the forms it manifests in. I traveled widely and then came home and told my kinfolk about my travels. But they weren't interested. They only cared about Kyonin. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. What happened next? Earthfall happened at night. I am standing at the top of my tower, many miles to the north of Kyonin. I see a blaze far in the south. I hear a horrendous rumble. The air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock rushing down on my world. And then, a blow. Vibration that penetrates everything, reaching down into the bowels of Galarian and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones, blood from burst vessels filling my eyes with darkness, drowning in timelessness along with the countless denizens. Never before have we been so united in our feeling. When I come round, the darkness remains. My first terrible thought, I'm blind. But no, little by little I begin to see the stone wall. I'm alive, but why is it so dark? The answer is quick, the smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Aslan. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk at day and complete darkness at night. My heart sinks with fear. Treacherous thoughts fill my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clench my teeth and stand up to watch Earthfall, proudly, like the last Archmage of Kyonin should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No. That'll never happen. I am still alive, and I can fight the Earthfall and the darkness. I don't run from it in a blind panic like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher. But what can I do? I will not stop the disaster. I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I'm but one Archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. What is Earthfall? A disaster of untold proportion. An unborn planet dropped on Galarian by blind fate, someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Aslan is destroyed within moments. turned to ashes, wiped off the face of Galarian. In this burnt sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools, the soil is barren, dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule, and the most frightening thing, without the sun, hope dies in the heart. This is the age of darkness. What was that tower you mentioned? It's my retreat to the north of Keonin, my home away from home, my observatory. From its top, I watched the stars, and when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wastelands, I found the highest mountain in top of it. On clear days, I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east. That's how high I was. What are you going to do next? I don't know. I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. It is merciless. It does not simply destroy life. It kills an era, ending the greatness of Galarian civilizations. They will sink into oblivion, be forgotten as if they never existed. I need to think. Forgive me, I shouldn't have raised my voice. This story was much harder than many before it, most likely because I played the main role. It is so strange to see myself, feel the emotions tearing me up inside, those that I felt a long time ago, and not remember them. It's like I split. I became the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered with ancient elven writings on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended. Perhaps even why I forgot it. We're going to select Tell Me About Earthfall here, but then just skip through it because it's the stuff we just read. Let's go 5. Thank you for your stories. Let's get that taken care of too. I like to have... Oops, I should read this. I like to have all of the text not highlighted, I guess. An old thing, created long ago by divine will, but the power that gave birth to it is lost in the darkness. However, the relic still lives on, though it has changed. I wonder what secret it is hiding. Would you like to know it? Bring me 5 vials of magic essence, and I will revive this object, and with it, its story. Shall we? Alright, we'll go ahead and give the storyteller the broken buckle and the necessary materials. The Covenant of the Inheritor is the name of this robe. This buckle once adorned the belt of a glorious knight from Mendev. It is the embodiment of a promise made to a young girl by a powerful deity. A great promise that has changed much in the world. When we touch it, we can see, well, we get a burning sensation, and then we can see what happened. I had a vision. How strange. You are a remarkable mortal. No one has ever shared my visions before. What do you think caused it? Perhaps these things have something to do with your destiny, or the fate of someone related to you? I do not have an answer, only advice. Seek out such relics. Look for what links them all, and you will know the truth. Alright, well, we've got other stuff to do here. And we're going to drop that thing that we just made on us. Where is it? Here it is. So this is the Covenant of the Inheritor. It, in a 30-foot air radius, gives +2 bonus to caster level checks made to overcome spell resistance, and all of our weapons become good aligned and count as if they were made of cold iron. Which is of great benefit to us. We do have to put this on our bar, though, because it, like, constantly shifts off for whatever reason. If you go anywhere, like change maps at all, it turns off and right back. I don't think there's anything down there, if I remember. There is something to find over here. Let's see if we find it. Did. Hustle up, guys. Run it out, run it out. Let's go in Irabeth's tent. This is mine and Anevia's tent. We're both used to traveling, but the Queen insisted our tent be furnished like a commanding officer's. Right, well, we're gonna requisition all your stuff here. We'll either use it or sell it. I'm not sure which yet. Wander over here. These are the fighters of the Eagle Watch. She personally chose every one that's standing here, and she can vouch for them as well, including Ember. I've seen so many happy faces today. It's so good for us to keep fighting. For a day will come when no one else will have to die. That an Ember. Way to keep spirits up. Raise morale. We're gonna keep gathering all this loot because we have a bunch of it that we have to get rid of in the near future. There is a perception check there after we do.
Keep your calm.
That's not until after it. After we speak with the Queen. So Windu's up here. Master, these soldiers lack discipline and concentration. I won't entrust them with our lives, so I'll keep guard myself. And the soldier's asking, why are you looking at the sky? You think winged demons are about to follow us? Yes, useless uplanders. The most dangerous enemy is the one that attacks from above. This is why camps are set in small caves, and have all of us in full view. Good afternoon, Your Commanderness. You remember us? We're the crew from the Next Door Theater Company. The one you saved in Canabras, back when you weren't Your Commanderness yet. As you can see, we've come on the campaign with you. We signed up to clean pots and mend the soldiers' clothes. Keeping up a theater is expensive, so we all have to take side jobs. We don't stop what we're doing. We're going to put on a play about your legendary feats. Of course, the crowd scenes are difficult. We can't find the people to play the hordes of demons. And we decided against using a ritual to summon real demons. Luckily, we have Master Kim. He's invented a way to solve this problem using sound. Cut a pig and some piglets who ran away from a burned-out village. Put the piglets in a box and scare them a little, and the sound they make is just like an approaching demon horde. But the most important question is, of course, choosing the lead actor who will play the Great Knight Commander. We had a bright Barney over it, breaking the number of lances as well as a shovel, a rolling pin, and a set of back scratchers. But we just couldn't decide no matter what. Maybe you can help us. We have two candidates that are most suited to the role. One will have the honor of conveying your heroism upon the stage. I'm to be played by a gnome? Not a gnome, two gnomes. Rumbledum and Hierophant are twins. One of them sits on the other's shoulders and puts on a long coat so they can play talker. They switch places every so often so each gets their moment of fame, and that way they only have to learn half the script. Cyclops actor? He's completely tame, believe me. He has a few issues with articulation, but what a powerful physique. We'll make him a nice costume, wash him up, brush his hair. Truth be told, in our show, you mainly just make short, heroic exclamations at the fateful moment, like, onward, or, we'll never give up, or, my heart burns with courage. Lambkin can definitely handle the script. Do you have any other actors who even vaguely resemble me? We're a small and poorly funded theater, and we only have a few actors, but they're also talented, one of a kind. I've chosen the ones that are the best fit for your role. Trust my vision. I have more than a few successful plays under my belt. Alright, well, I've made my decision. I'm not a real big buff guy, so I think we'll choose to be played by the gnome twin. Wonderful. Sorry we took you away from all the important things heroes and commanders do. We're off to rehearsal. First we'll wash some pots, then we're off to rehearsal. Let's go, you lazy lumps. Don't embarrass old grandma now. I think Darren's goofing around down here, too. Ah, there you are, you dashing troublemaker, you. Our short acquaintance is coming to an end. Very soon you will depart on your crusade, or you'll scrape by on horrible rations, struggle vainly to fall asleep amidst snoring soldiers, be rudely awoken by the freezing cold, and have to look upon the dour faces of self-righteous prigs, before you finally perish in a maw of sun. I have a journey ahead of me, too. I've just rented a sailboat in the south. Or maybe it's a schooner. I've also hired an excellent chef, and a host of other entertainment. Well, to each their own, I suppose. You know, I am genuinely sad to see you go. If it sounds like mockery, forgive me. I cannot switch off my venom gland on a whim, you see. But you intrigue me. If only we could have spent a little more time together. But, of course, not under these circumstances. Let the Crusaders and demons have at each other. With any luck, they'll take this entire sanctimonious spectacle down with them. Well, I'll be blunt. You don't intrigue me. Not in the way you obviously had in mind, but you are a valuable companion. You definitely could have stayed. Who, me? Where? In this traveling Pardon me. In this army? You must be joking. Of course I won't stay. Who in his right mind would trade a luxurious and carefree life for this crusade? In any case, I intend to wait until the army departs. I do love a good send-off, especially when it is I who is staying and someone else who is heading off to meet a dreary and hopeless end. Sometimes it does one good to ruminate on the unfairness of life. Well then, farewell, Commander. I assume I shall be your most precious memory on this most disgusting and exhausting road to the pointless slaughter of battle. Or if not the most precious memory, then at least the most stirring. No one else to talk to up there, so we'll head into Nura's tent. And we'll steal all the stuff in Nura's tent. Some books, some alchemist fire. Mirabeth doesn't think that the stuff that she's brought with is terribly useful. Some scrolls. Let's see who's over here. A dog that's barking at us. Do you know what the queen does to people who keep her waiting? I don't know, but I don't want to find out. And Morgus is down here yelling about male shirts. Good day. Do you remember me? I'm Jurna. We spoke in the Defender's Heart. So you're the commander of the Crusade now. Erastil knows it's hard to imagine someone worthier of taking up the post than the savior of Canabras. May the good gods help you prevail. But who are you? A humble priest of Erastil. I completed my trials and took my holy orders only recently, and now I am serving my god and the people to the best of my abilities. What were you doing in Defender's Heart? What I was bound to do under my holy orders. I healed the wounded and buoyed up the healthy to fight another day. Have you joined the Crusade? Don't take it amiss, but no, I haven't. I have my own task. I am needed in Chili Creek. A tiny hamlet, due to some oversight, has been left without a priest these many years. I'm about to set sail for there. I'll be making my journey along Old Man's Cellar. I have to go. We'll see you at Chili Creek later, my man. Well, sir. Milsir Garms, the camp quartermaster at your service. How may I be of help? Tell me about yourself. There isn't much to tell, really. I was born in Canabras, in a humble family. I got an education, taught myself to read and write, got drafted into the army, spent 3 years as a shield bearer in the first line. I left after I did my time and joined the Stonemasons Guild. Then moved on to the shipwrights and rose to a crew chief. Sailed to Iobaria twice and returned with goods, made some money, built a house, but I haven't started a family yet. I think I will after we're done with this war. But a few years ago, something started gnawing at me. I got this feeling like I needed to go home, that there was a storm headed for my native city. And when there's trouble in Mendev, there's only one thing to do. You go to the recruiter and sign up for the army. And so I did. At first they wanted to make me an infantry sergeant, but then they decided I'd be better fit in the supply department. I can take care of army property, and I'm pretty handy around a warehouse. Not to mention I know how to manage a band of helpers. So that's how I became a quartermaster. I wonder where he built his house. Or bought his house. What are your duties in the camp? A little bit of everything. What's an officer to a soldier? A strict father. So what does this make a quartermaster like myself? Unlike their mum, that's what. I make sure the lads have everything they need to defeat the enemy and come back from battle in one piece. That means food, firewood, medicine, tents, mended clothes, fixed weapons. The horses have got to be fed and watered, the camp's got to be fortified by evening, broken up by morning. I make sure the wages are paid on time and the wagon wheels don't squeak. And then there are the reports. Gods, until you asked, I never realized how many duties I actually had. What do the soldiers think of their new commander? They mostly tell tales about your unusual power, but they don't shy away from talking about you as a person, too. Soldiers are always like that. If Iomade herself descended from the heaven, You bet they'd be jabbering on about how she grips her sword, how good she looks in her armor. Word is that you possess some special magic, and know spells that no one's ever seen in Mendev before. People say you can do all sorts of stunts, turn into a dragon, throw lightning bolts, fly across the sky, and that you specialize in this one spell that lets you carouse and make love all night long without ever flagging. I don't know where they got that last one from. I think they weren't righteous warriors of light, but common soldiers. Alright, well, he sells us stuff. I'm not going to buy anything right now. I don't think there's anything real important until we get to Dresden. That's when we get our next bag of holding, which is pretty much the best thing we can buy in the game from anybody, ever. I don't think... Yeah, he doesn't talk to us. Hilo, what's going on? Group of soldiers is talking loudly and passing around a flask. So picture this. My sword is by the fire, there's 2 goblins about to snatch it, and 3 more are digging through my tent. I'm sat in the bushes, wearing just my mail shirt, wondering what the blast to do. An old mercenary taught me about the mail shirt. You can't sleep in armor, but it's not so bad in mail, once you get used to it. Too bad no one told me not to go to the bushes without my sword. So what did you do? What did I do? I barked like crazy. Goblins are afraid of dogs, you know, so they all went wild and started running. I spot my sword, and they spot me, so I jumped over the fire wearing nothing but my mail shirt, and I grabbed my sword. I yell in a big, tough voice, "Oh, Inheritor, grant me the power to crush these filthy creatures." My sword's shining, the goblins are screaming. I jump to attack them, and they fight back. But I fought them off somehow. But ever since then, I never take a step without my weapon. Haha, that's some story. Hey, stop gulping. Leave some for us. You've only just set off and you're already drinking, and with a queen in the camp? Stop this at once. I'm not going to say anything because we are neither lawful or chaotic, but Sela says, "Right you are, Commander Tierbade. We are but drinking to the queen's health." Allow me to remind you, Paladin, that you are in an army, not a band of mercenaries. Foolishness impairs discipline. Too much fun at the camp can turn into losses on the battlefield. With all due respect, Commander Tierbade, I answer to the Knight Commander, not to you. The fact that we're fighting together doesn't give you the right to discipline me like a sergeant disciplines a recruit. But the rest of these guys, she can discipline. Because she is, in fact, the rest of their commanding officer. Oh. Almost missed this letter. The letter basically says that the person writing the letter doesn't like the queen. Let's see, we're going to pop in our head in the medic tent here. Melia, you've got nothing to say. How about you, Vasily? And Kyoto's got nothing. So we've got a book. Oops. I spun it around and disoriented myself. That'll teach me. Head into the chapel. I don't think there's anything in here, but there is after we talk to the... We've just got Korag, Aristal, Iomade, Desna, Sarenrae, and then this one is Abadar. So all the good gods, basically.
There are many rooms.
Rijo's probably going to be mad. He'd like to probably see Asmodeus? Asmodeus? I don't know how to pronounce that one. Or how they pronounce it anyways. Okay, so is that... Did we get everything? Now let's clear these out real quick. This one. We've examined everything, and we've talked to the quartermaster, so we can go... The rest of the stuff that we can find, we can... I think, anyways. I didn't say anything. Settle down. Talk to these other people first. My respects, Commander. I hope you'll be able to spare some time after the formalities. We're still just grabbing all this random stuff because we're going to sell most of it. Happy to help the cause, Commander. It's good to meet you, Commander. Now let's get this, then talk to the Queen greets us with a stare. She has dropped the pompous air with which she just announced the Fifth Crusade, and she now appears calm and thoughtful.
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds. I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Dresden, our lost outpost within the Worldwound. The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomade herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation.
I think you mean the neutral evilness of the banner.
A forced march to Dresden awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. A historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Soziel Danik. One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomade also wants to talk to you. The Honorable Leota, whom everyone calls Hawkblade.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons! I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it!
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
I
You'll
cut
have
off her
plenty
laughing.
of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions. Now then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too.
When we met at the Defender's Heart, I never imagined you'd make me the commander of the new crusade.
Some actions may be deemed bold, or even extreme, and beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
Did you know that the souls of angels from heaven are confined in the Wardstones? Well, except for the one I blew up.
I had guessed as much. Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomede's herald erected the first wardstone in Canobris, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts, but my faith in Iomade easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess after all, not to question her works. In any case, I am glad you did not allow the demons to commit sacrilege and gain control over the wardstone in Canobris. We might have lost one of the wardstones, but the chain is still standing.
You should know that I received an unusual gift in the caves beneath Canobris. In a vision, I saw the death of an angel called Lariel. Somehow, he was able to grant me the ability to reveal the light of heavens.
Lariel. I knew him. He disappeared shortly before the world wound grew, and Dresden fell into the enemy's hands. In the chaos, we had more important concerns than investigating the fate of a single angel. Even one so righteous and beloved as Lariel. And afterward, matters took a turn for the worse. The angels left us to go on this special mission. It is so strange to hear the names I used to hear when I was young, like getting a message from the past. It is sad news, but it brings me back to the times when we strongly believed in our victory, and we rushed headlong toward it without fear. Could it be that such times have come again?
I have some questions about my mission to retake Dresden.
Of course. I shall answer.
What forces are at my disposal?
Everyone we saw today at the parade. First among them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness. Also marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Neurosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These forces, as I said, are not enough for a march on Dresden. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Dresden, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead.
It's been decades, and no one has managed to retake the city. Why do you think we're different?
We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demons' plans in Canabris. The army who attacked the city came straight from Dresden. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Canabris. We must attack swiftly before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess.
How did the demons manage to conquer Dresden in the first place?
That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen, and the power of the Sword of Valor protected the city. Alas, where raging hordes failed, a single lying tongue was all they needed to succeed. The demoness Minago convinced a young and ambitious crusader named Staunton Vane that the banner belonged on the battlefield. He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss.
Staunton Vane? I saw him at the Grey Garrison. He defected to the demon's side.
Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this. After Dresden fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting. I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions.
Should be Hell Knights. I'm gonna take the evil option. I can't believe no one decided to punish him unofficially.
Not in my army. I know all too well that the armies of some kingdoms tolerate humiliation, beatings, and even murder. Their commanders imagine it brings their soldiers together and enforces discipline. Anyone who tries to introduce such rules in Mendev will face a tribunal, along with anyone who tries to shield them, even upper command.
Well, it's good that my crusade is going to be entirely distinct and not under Mendevian rule. What about long-term goals? You know how to get rid of the World Wound forever?
Now you are talking like a real knight commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the Abyss across the territory we call the World Wound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed. The World Wound is more than just a chain of portals to the Abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the World Wound was opened. The main rift lies through the city of Iz and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the World Wound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Dresden, is an offensive push deeper into the World Wound, with the aim of reaching Threshold, the very threshold of the Abyss.
A very fitting name, then. Alright, I have no more questions.
Wonderful.
Except for these two down here. So I'll show her the Covenant of the Inheritor. Do you remember this?
I thought this relic was destroyed many years ago. How strange it is to see it whole again. At one time, it gave me hope. I am pleased that this object will serve the Crusade once more.
I had a vision of Iomade giving the Covenant to you.
I was young, and did not fully understand the magnitude of the duty that had been entrusted to me. Iomade gave me hope and strength to see me through the trials ahead, and in so doing, she won my everlasting loyalty.
Do you still remember the oath you swore in battle?
Always. No matter how arduous, no matter how dark the skies, no matter how much blood flows from my wounds, I shall stand with you. We shall fight for our loved ones and our friends, for the right to live and die free. We shall do everything we possibly can, and after that, we shall begin to do the impossible. And if the hour should come when our arms can no longer raise our swords, our bodies will become a shield to cover those who still have strength to fight. I, Golfrey, Queen of Mendev, swear this to you. This is my vow.
You withstood a blow from a Rulu Vorlesh in that battle.
I would proudly declare that to be true, and say that even our Relu Vorlesh could not kill me on her first attempt. But to do so would be boasting. I was protected by my goddess. However, I was glad to see that, no matter how great the betrayer of humanity's power, it is nothing as compared to Iomede's might.
I would like to keep wearing this relic.
Then so you shall. What matters is that the Covenant of the Inheritor has been recovered. Perhaps it should be in your hands now, because you have greater need of it. But should you ever feel that you no longer need this relic, I ask that you give it to me. I would be delighted to touch it again.
Alright, well, what are you gonna do?
Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade. Does that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander?
Yeah, I don't want her to come with us. I just don't want to interact with her very much. Thank you for your reply.
Of course.
Alright, task is clear.
Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable. Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
I was gonna say, that's a great idea.
I knew you would approve, Commander. I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count. but your conduct in Kenobris has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden. Only the commander may remove you from your post. But I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation, including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
Then let's get going. May Iyomade help us.
Sounds good, Queenie. Hey, Nevia. So, tell me straight. How'd that brawl at the Grey Garrison end? I heard rumors, of course. That's kind of my job, you know, to listen. You've no idea what cobblers and crusaders say about you. Some say that Iyomade came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and honest to God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still others say it was just an explosion at an alchemist lab, and I'm the one spreading rumors about your powers. I wish. But you know, you really have changed since the Grey Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you're become kinda smarter? More dangerous. I have a gut instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander. And by doesn't I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies and not to us. Or to yourself. I'll have to go. That was a silly conversation. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Let's grab all our magic junk. Oh. Actually filter this so I can pick them up real quick. Come on. Everything in my pack. I should just read through these books and put these away. And the letters. And by read, I don't actually mean that I'm going to read them here. We're just going to hold them up in case they would have done anything for us. I'm going to put them away. As much as possible, limit. We're going to keep the heads, the severed heads, I guess, in our... Oh, I don't know if I looked at this one. Oh, that's just a prayer scroll. We'll keep the severed heads with us, though, just in case. I have no idea where we actually use those, so... And see, this turned off. Because we loaded into a different screen, so it turns off every time we do that. I'm not going to fiddle with it in camp here, but... I'll have to try to remember to fiddle with it outside of camp. Oh wait, was there someone down here to talk? Wendy was down here. Master, how can I serve you? That army of mongrels you promised me would be useful right about now. Yes, they would be useful in this campaign. If we had more time and weren't in such a hurry, we'd go to Seoul and show him the trophies we took from the demons. He'd stop shaking in fear and some of the tribes. But the way I see it, we don't have time to waste right now. We'd have to deal with Seoul after we conquer Dresden. Alright. We should, I guess, let's see if Finian has anything different. He does not. You have a quest to turn in at Irabeth? Commander, allow me to say something. For you, this wasn't a war. It was agony. Drawn out over decades, no one believed in victory anymore. When the demons attacked the city, for some it was a relief. At least the end had come. They laid down their weapons and surrendered without a fight. I felt the same thing, but I somehow got through on stubbornness and the vague hope that if nobody found Nevia's body, she might by some miracle have survived. And that miracle was you. You returned my beloved to me, and I'd nearly lost all hope of seeing her alive. Then you went on a suicide mission to the Grey Garrison and won the city back for us. You turned a defeat into victory. I know it wasn't easy, but you make everything seem so effortless. You do everything just like that. The Queen believes in your powers too, but for me, they're just more proof of what I felt the day when I saw Nevia alive standing next to you. You're the miracle we've been waiting for. You're the one who will finally put an end to this terrible war, and in spite of everything, deliver us something we so desperately need. With you, I'm sure this crusade will achieve what the others could not. So, it turns out that the Queen has her head of counterintelligence watching me. I wonder why. Think the Queen doesn't trust you? If that were true, she wouldn't have put you in charge of this army. My main task is to be your advisor until you've gained enough experience as a commander. As for counterintelligence, Senevi and I were tasked with keeping an eye on your circle. But you're not under suspicion, Commander. You're under our protection. It's hard to believe your origin is so humble. You deserve a noble title more than many who inherit them. Thank you, Commander. It's an honor to hear that, especially from you. Every noble family begins somewhere. You must have heard the recent story from the Stolen Lands in the River Kingdoms. Just imagine, coming from nowhere and making it all the way to a royal crown in just a few years. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I managed to distinguish myself somehow. But then I push away such unworthy, selfish thoughts, of course. Don't fight for me. The fate of the world is at stake, and yet... Well, we need reinforcements here, Beth. Can you get us some more soldiers? When we began the march to Dresden, we chose speed over numbers. If I order more volunteers to be recruited, they simply won't arrive in time. We could pay mages to deliver the troops to the camp, except I doubt that our army's coffers could afford it. If you can spare 7,500 gold coins, I will see where reinforcements. Yeah, let's do that. And also, I found the scabbard with your family name on it, the Grey Garrison. This scabbard held the Solemn Hour, my family sword. My father once fought with it, and I took it when I left home to become a paladin. Alas, it was not stolen. I parted with my heirloom willingly, someone dear to me. Nevia needed expensive healing, and having no other way to procure the money, I pawned my father's sword. I think he would have understood. I'm sure he would have given up everything to help the family. I hoped to redeem the Solemn Hour eventually, but there was never enough money, and soon the sword disappeared from the shop altogether. I have no idea who took it. Seems like I'll have to part with my father's sword forever. Is Anevia sick? You'll forgive me if I don't go into detail. It's a private matter. Suffice to say, everything is fine now. The treatment was costly, but it was worth it. I'm not going to do any of these, so I'm just going to say nothing. My parents were loyal servants, yet it wasn't enough to earn them a title or a coat of arms. Still, however humble our name might be, it's worth something. I don't know if I'll ever see this Solemn Hour again, but at least I have its scabbard back. Thank you. Alright, I have to go. I have to go in your tent and look and see if there's anything else to pick up. I think there is. Thank you. I guess I usually do invite the Queen with, so... Oh, there's just nobody down here if you don't invite her with. She sits down here if you do. Ember, what's up? How are you handling new abilities? Abilities? What are you talking about? Oh, the tricks you learned when the big gray house blew up. They're funny. Thanks for teaching them to me. The Queen gave me the title of Knight Commander, put me in charge of an army. What do you think about that? Don't believe titles. All of us in the world are children of the street. Barefoot, hungry, scared, step away from death. Some imagine they're strong and rich like gods, but don't forget who you really are, behind the title. Alright, well I have to go. Stuff to do, people to kill, things of that sort. Let's go in Nura's tent. One more thing to break into, and Nura herself. Knight Commander, how can I help? There's much I can do, just ask. You've probably heard about the wound I have, the one that sometimes opens on my chest. Can you perhaps tell me if it is some kind of demonic curse? Yes, indeed, I've been told of your affliction. Can you will the wound to open? No? That's a shame. Oh, what can you tell me about this wound? It's difficult to say. I know of blades that leave never-healing cuts, of poisons that stop wounds from healing. I've heard of witches' curses that are rewarded with eternal wounds, but wounds that seem to reopen and heal over time? Think it's dangerous? Well, most likely is dangerous, but you're under the protection of Iomade, Commander. She granted you mythic power, as they say. Surely the Inheritor would not leave you to face this alone. Have you perhaps noticed that the wound opens at moments when you waver in your faith? Perhaps it's triggered by doubt. Perhaps you know of other cases like this? Let's think. In 4671, a Mendevian army corporal had all his bones and cartilage turned to glass. In 4700, a scribe in Canaris had all her skin simply come away like she'd been boiled. And in 4638, oh, you don't happen to have insects crawling over you? Locusts? No? Rats, perhaps? Too bad. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you anything useful. I will be sure to study this matter and consult a few of my encyclopedias. Tell me about yourself. Oh my, I could tell you so many amazing things, and you chose the most boring one of all. Alright, what about me? Where are you from? Isker, a small piece of land that proudly calls itself a country, though it hasn't been independent for a single day in all the centuries it existed. They have a lot of national pride, but all of it's borrowed. Always looking to the great day when they can at last be free from rule of Cheliax. The Iskari love talking politics. If two of them start bargaining over beats at the market, you can be sure that they'll end up arguing about whether an independent Isker will be a monarch or a republic. I've always found it funny to listen to, and a little disgusting. You see, there are a lot of us halflings in the but very few are citizens. Most are slaves. I was lucky. I've always been clever, ever since I was little, so they sent me to school instead of making me do grunt work. They taught me to count and write, and I was sold as a secretary to Axelar Tresbot. He's the one I left Isker with, never to return. I hope. Worship any deity? When I was a slave in Isker, they would beat me with a stick to force me into being Asmodeus. They hit me and said it was for my own good. Ever since then, I don't like temple. I realize there are different gods, like Desna or Caden, goodness and freedom, but it's just, as soon as I smell frankincense, I see the slave driver's stick. Maybe one day I'll be able to be reverent enough, but for now I'll let others pray for him. I failed the perception check. Let's see what that roll was, actually. We needed to roll a 6, and we rolled 5. How did you come to serve Queen Galfrey? I was a slave of Lord Axelar Tresbot in Isker, my homeland. Oh, what a man he was. He towered over his fellows like a garbage heap. True hero. He bought me as a simple secretary, but he made me learn the history of the world. All of it. One volume after another. He hired tutors for me. He even sent me to meet prominent historians. He didn't want a simple slave, but a slave with an impeccable education. Lord Tresbot was going on a crusade. He firmly believed that the servants of the good gods were weak. Only a follower of Asmodeus could stand against the demon invasion. He took me along as a secretary, a historian, and, most importantly, he trusted me with recording his glorious story for generations. In his crusade, Lord Tresbot performed many brave feats, but even he could not stand against the whirlwind. In his final battle with the demons, when my lord realized he was doomed, his final act was to cover my retreat, so that I could tell the world of his great deed. Some people have said what he did was not heroic, just an arrogant mortal, puffing himself up one last time. But I say curse their tongue. My difficult journey ended in Mendev, where I found my freedom. There, I published Lord Tresbot's biography, and I don't want to boast, but who am I kidding? Of course I do. The book sold in great numbers and made me rather famous for a time. That's what brought me to the Queen's attention. She invited me to her court. After all, she was curious about my deceased lord, and she was in great need of an expert on the history of the world wound. I hope you'll find me useful as well. So, you're not just a historian, but a writer too. Will you write a book about my crusade? Haha, why not? As soon as we finish off the demons, I'll get right to it. Just take care that you don't end up like Lord Tresbot. Alright, thanks for your answers. Tell me the history of the world wound. Oh, I could talk for hours about that. What exactly do you want to know? How about Old Sarkoris? It was an unforgiving country, inhabited by numerous tribes of Kelid barbarians. Imagine Numeria, but without the Metal Mountains or the realm of the Mammoth Lords. But with a milder climate. That's Sarkoris. The country was ruled by priests of forgotten deities and shamans. It's said that even back then, before the world wound, the boundary between worlds was especially thin in this region. Since ancient times, the Skari had his claws sunk deep into the minds of the locals. His cults thrived here for many centuries. Aridin tried to stamp them out, but in the end, of course, he passed away. How did the world wound come to be? It happened the year after Aridin died, 4606, a little over a century ago. No one knows if the timing was coincidental or if there's some connection with Aridin's death, but I'll tell you what I know, or what we know. The priest and shaman who ruled Sarkoris hated arcane magic and all who practiced it. Wizards and sorcerers were driven from the land, or worse. One of their prisons held a witch named Aurila Vorlesh. We know nothing about her besides her name, and of course the atrocities she committed. By some unknown method, she managed to harness the terrible power of the demon Ascari. Together they tore open the barrier between us, opening a rift to the abyss in the very middle of Sarkoris. The world wound slowly but mercilessly expanded, devouring more and more land. In a matter of years, Sarkoris was a memory. Sometimes I think, what did they do to her? Just imagine, she was ready to give herself to the... If only the demons might devour her torch. Imagine such hatred. It terrifies me. Tell me about the First Crusade. It began in 4622. Yes, it took the church and secular authorities nearly 2 decades and hundreds of thousands of lives before they decided to take action. In the meantime, Sarkoris was only supported by handfuls of... By the time the crusade began, the demons had already invaded Mendev. The crusaders pushed them back in what must have seemed a total... The forces of good easily crushing the demons. They erected Dresden on the lands they conquered, an indestructible capital of the Crusader movement. In 4630, 8 years after it began, the First Crusade was declared victorious. It was the first triumph of the Crusaders, and fortunately the last. Tell me about the Second Crusade. In 4638, the world wound suddenly started expanding, and a new wave of demons appeared. The Crusaders were all but delighted. Last time, they'd routed the forces of the Abyss, and they welcomed another chance to prove themselves. But this time, everything was different. Instead of scattered gangs, they faced a large and organized army. Dresden was besieged. Crusaders lost all the lands they'd won back before. They had to retreat, and all that remained of Sarkoris was left to the demons. But while the monsters were devouring the unprotected lands, the Crusaders erected a chain of ward stones, order with the world wound. We have Iomedae and her herald to thank for that. It was the Second Crusade's only victory, but it halted the wound's growth. The catastrophe had become a stalemate, cost of tremendous sacrifice. Tell me about the Third Crusade. About 50 years after the opening of the world wound, Ascari found an ally. Baphomet entered the war, a cunning, insidious demon, first deception to open the East. He sets his enemies against each other and lures the virtuous onto the path of wickedness. Traitors appeared among the Crusaders, secret agents of his cult. For a time, no one suspected a thing, even as they watched helplessly as the Crusader movement fell to ruin. Where once valor proudly stood, now greed, dumb cruelty reigned, and outrage was drowned in apathy. In 4665, the Church announced a new crusade, hoping to boost morale. They didn't succeed, to put it mildly. Some fought the demons in earnest, and for a time they even dared hope to retake Dresden. But the Third Crusade would be remembered as a witch hunt, in every sense. Inquisitors hoped to purge any cultists from the ranks of fighters, but instead they got a barrage of denunciations, widespread suspicion, innocent victims. It sometimes happened that two orders would denounce each other as traitors and wipe each other out, much to the demons' delight. Just 3 years later, in 4668, the Church put the disgrace to an end. Of all the Crusades, that one was the least glorious. Well, how about that Fourth Crusade? Of course, the demons had no intention of sitting quietly, caged behind the stones. They kept attacking Canabras, trying to reach the stone and destroy it, or just scratch its surface, or, even if that wasn't possible, befoul it. The Crusaders drove the demons away from the city again and again. The Fourth Crusade would last for 15 years, an exhausting study in positional warfare. The demons attacked, and they were pushed back. The Crusaders went on the offensive, but were forced to retreat. All the while, the losses were tremendous. Fourth Crusade's only achievement was that they didn't let a single ward stone fall. They didn't retake a sliver of land, to say nothing of Dresden. So many lives just to maintain the stalemate. You can imagine how that affected more. Oh, thanks, Nora. Get going. Hi, Laura. Let's see if he has anything new to say. You earned the title of Commander. Canabras still stands thanks to you, but you'll have to be doubly on your guard. Your Eminence places a target on your back. There are assassins about. Killing a high-ranking Crusader would bring a demon far more prestige than killing a common soldier. Not long ago, I stymied a few of the Spinner of Nightmares attempts on the Crusaders, so I know what I'm talking about. Which influential Crusaders did you save? I'd been hunting the Spinner of Nightmares for over a year. My agents, by that time I'd created a proper network, reported to me that she'd returned to Noroshian. I immediately suspected that she was planning a great atrocity. By that time I'd learned all too well that the Spinner was a master of illusions and charms. That's why I never left the house without this. He pulls a monocle from his pocket. This is the Eye of Truth. It allows me to see through illusions. My friend got it from the priests of Nethys. However, neither this monocle nor my network of agents were adequate to prevent the attacks. We were nearly too late. The Spinner of Nightmares decided to strike at the Cruciform Cathedral. They had gathered to celebrate the victory of the First Crusade. It was a great holiday, and there was a lavish ceremony at the cathedral. An influential priest, Anthoclitus, was in charge of the festivities. They were intending to crown him with a tiara, a symbol of his high status, but the sacred tiara had been replaced. The Spinner had obtained an Incutulus, a sentient and rather ominous cephalopod from the other end of the world. She had raised it from an elder, trained it carefully, and she cast an illusion on it so that everyone would see it as the tiara. The moment its shell was placed on Anthoclitus' head, the cephalopod would release its tentacles and penetrate the priest's skull. Its poison would seep into his brain, and it would seize control over Anthoclitus' dead body. Fortunately, we were able to stop this madness in time. I spotted the Spinner of Nightmares in the crowd, chased her down, and we ended up crossing swords on the roof of the cathedral. I nearly defeated her, but she fled upon a giant stallion. I was able to run across the air as if it were the ground. I was so close to catching her. She had suffered a setback, but I let her escape. Tell me about your confrontation with her. It's a long story. Telling you everything would take days. Which part do you want to know? Let's do this. I think this is what we just heard. Yeah. Tell me again how it all began. I already know that. Okay. We're good on Halor.
Watch out for trouble.
There's nothing new there, so let's talk to Camellia. What do you think of the powers that you receive from it? People noble descent grow accustomed to ample up. Powers I receive from you are useful, but I see no point in excessive beauty. I gotta go. Not to Horgus. There you are. I've been waiting. As you see, I too have joined the Crusade. I don't know how to swing a sword, but the war is costly, and I have money. Besides, my intellect and business sense may prove useful even on the battlefield. Besides, I believe I owe you an apology. The way I behaved was rude, ill-mannered. You are an honest and honorable person. You have clawed your way up from the bottom of society to the title of Knight Commander, and you're friends with Queen Galfrey herself. Such persistence deserves respect. Please allow me to give you this magic amulet for personal treasury. Mark our future cooperation. So I'm going to skip through these real quick. These are ones that we have already spoke to him about. Why have you decided to support the Crusade now? With all due respect, that's none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism when Abras was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations. Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I'd wager that Irbith has no idea who's spending on drinks and supplies. Why did you hide the fact... Oh yeah, this one we've already talked to him about as well. How did Camellia's mother die? I'm not going to tell you about that. Some things ought to remain private. What can you tell me about Count Darren Arenday? The nobles of Canabra should be acquainted with each other, shouldn't they? He's a brilliant young man with a brilliant pedigree. And that story of his, the nobility is the glue that keeps our society. I suppose that's why the demons so often choose their estates as well. Who would notice the demons' bloody massacres of our poor country? The Arenday family shared the tragic plight of the Gorgons. Along with many other members of the nobility, they fell victim to a treacherous attack during a major celebration taking place at their family estate. I hadn't received an invitation, was slightly insulted by the snub, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The gods saved me from a terrible fate. All the guests died that day from a magical demon, or getting their heads cut off. I sympathize with the Count. He has endured so much, and it's no wonder he keeps himself aloof. I think this is due to the fact that Horgus Gorm's fate so resembles his own, and we both have to relive those horrible memories whenever we see each other. Right. Woljev, what do you think of my new powers? I mean, what you did back there? I have a few ideas. We could send you to Pitak's underground arena to fight. Give you a scary name like Swift Sting or something like that. Give you a great cover story. Enemies burn down your house. You're avenging your dead family. The public eats that stuff up. You'll wear a shiny, eye-catching outfit, or a black one if you like black better. We'll split the prize money, 60-40. 60 for me, of course. You know, arranging fights isn't easy. Those people are tough. I'll be taking more risks than you. After we get set up in Patak's, we'll tour different cities, make some real money. What, you don't like the sound of it? Any other suggestions? I got one more. Have you heard of Razmirin? It's some land in the River Kingdoms ruled by King Razmir. A friend of mine used to live in Razmirin, and he got out of there as fast as he could. Long story short, this King Razmir of theirs is a god. Keeps his people under his heel. They're all terrified of him. He sits on his throne wearing some white mask, giving power to anyone. And take power from success, as long as you believe in it. But that friend of mine, the one who fled, has a half-sister on his old man's side who's a cook in a castle, and a washerwoman who plays cards with the evenings told her a juicy rumor. Word is, Razmir isn't a real god at all. He's got no power. So here's my point. You do have powers. Pretty scary ones, too. We'll find some shabby little kingdom, we'll start some rumors, you'll show up with tricks to wow the locals, and that's it. We'll make you a deity. But first, I want you to put it in writing that I'll be your chief advisor. I'm not doing anything just on a nod. I've been there. People promise you mountains of gold, and then when it comes to it, they're all get lost, or I'll set the dogs on you. So, you like that idea? We're gonna choose it's interesting, but I'll need to think about it. Your thing. Just call me if you need me. Let's take a quick look at his tiefling connections here. Locksmith, we don't need. I think there's some rods in here that we may want later. We do want this. We got barely enough money to cover it, but we haven't sold all of our stuff, so. Just in case, I think I talked about this a little bit, but I did make a dual-wielding tongi, or tong. I don't know how to pronounce this. This is a great. +2 has acid on it. Pretty much you're going to be going with this, I think, in Finian for quite a while at this point. There, we picked up that. Damn it, you a good soldier. I saw you talking to that girl hiding her face. Who was she and what did she want? I don't know, Commander. She never introduced herself, but I bet she's not part of our army. I know all our soldiers by name and by sight. She was looking for some elf volunteer. Wanted to know which tent he was sleeping in. At first I thought she was a messenger from Mendev. She definitely wasn't one of us. But now I see how it all looks mighty shifty. She was some sort of spy then? I gotta go. And we've got our blacksmith buddy here. We're gonna sell him all our junk. Don't want this or this. All this stuff. Alright. All we have is magic stuff left. We're gonna go through that as well. Sell what we're not gonna use, but do that after a moment. I'll probably do that in between episodes, actually. Commander, let me personally congratulate you on your new title and thank you for your time in advance. I'm Leoder Hawkblade, wizard of the Church of Eomet, bringer of light, and I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter involving one of your companions, young Count Darren Arendelle. Passed a knowledge world check. Are you one of Halloran's followers? Yes, of course. Where were you during the attack on Canabras? I was on the hunt. A very successful one, but as often happens in life, this minor success was a mere harbinger of larger failure. If I hadn't been so far away from Canabras on the day of the attack, I might have been able to help my comrade prevent a number of deaths. So we had also heard from someone back in Canabras that Leoder is kind of the voice of reason, and he usually helps keep Halloran in line, so that Halloran doesn't kind of run amok and, I guess, murder everybody like he was doing. What is your opinion on his atrocities? Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to answer, not to some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help, and that imposes certain obligations. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by Prelate Holland's side to learn how to keep him from... Prelate is an extraordinary man, but he has fallen prey to his own paranoia and monumental sense of responsibility, which has gradually eroded his mind. He has witnessed so much hideous darkness that he now sees it in every shadow. Yet his strength was, and still is, a shield for all the people of Endev. That is my opinion. Comrades and advisors are necessary to prevent him from making mistakes. Thank you for your answer. It's not an easy topic for me. I'd prefer not to discuss this again. Tell me more about yourself, Inquisitor. I want to know who I'm dealing with. I'm Ulfin by birth, but I have lived in Endev for most of my life, dedicating myself to the service of the Inherit. My warrior brethren mostly worship gore, but I've never been eager to fight for the sake of battle. I was a good fighter in my early youth, and could easily best most of my peers, but I didn't enjoy showing off my skills. Victory is bland on its own. Purpose adds flavor to it. I can't say that I've always been a faithful sword of Iomedae. Back in my mercenary days, fate brought me to the borders of Mendev, where I spent quite a long time among them, fighting shoulder to shoulder with my righteous comrades in arms. Watching demons commit their atrocities eventually led me to something I'd been seeking for my life: purpose and faith. That is how I found my calling. Even though it may be hard at times, I've never regretted my decision. What brings you here? I ask you to assist the Church of Iomedae in an investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the Crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I am calling upon you. I suppose that you have already heard about Count Aaron's story. I refer to the tragedy at Heaven's Edge estate. Tell me what happened at Heaven's Edge. About 10 years ago, several powerful demons managed to penetrate the Wardstone barrier and commit mass murder of all of the guests who attended the celebration of young. Unknown magical disease they had brought wiped out the whole estate in less than a day. That was not a unique case in itself. The demons had attempted such raids on Mendevian land before, but they had never dared target such a well-protected place. The Arendelle family was exceptionally rich. The estate was protected by elite bodyguards. There were several strong and righteous paladins among the guests. Moreover, the revered Nestrin, Aaron's tutor, one of the most powerful priests of Iomedae in the vicinity. All of them died, nonetheless, except for the young, who had suddenly manifested his outstanding sacred healing. Was that a divine miracle or a curse? That remains to be seen. You're going to investigate it again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt the widely shared account of what exactly happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among those sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carried the spirit of old Mendev, Mendev before the World Moon, and yet, on that day, it turned into a labyrinth of House of Horrors, like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the digression. I wanted to tell you about my suspicions. Everything about the incident seemed odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with him? Why did nobody send a Canabras for help, even though the agony spanned many hours? We found the demons dead with their heads cut off. Got into the state. How were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present at the state, who are said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to penetrate the houses, why has this never been repeated since the tragedy at Heaven's Edge? You are the only person who can help me here, because the only living witness of these events is currently serving in your army. Your army's route will take you very near the site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with magic throughout all these years, and only the Count has the power to break that seal. He is unlikely to invite an Inquisitor inside, and in any case he won't sniff around the seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, he will be obliged to fulfill it, and I will simply follow you. There are 100 ways, 1,000 paths, and a myriad loopholes that the forces of evil can use to their advantage. I'm not sure which one of these led the demon to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple rift, and the kind Crusaders face every day. That incident involved a significantly more powerful entity, and that is why I'm asking for your help. You cannot be sure that such a tragedy will begin until we uncover the truth. We've already been to the estates several times. What do you expect to find now? I was a young and inexperienced Inquisitor when I first visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for that. My arsenal includes many spells and techniques dedicated to gathering information about events. Almost all of them are present in the place where the event information happened. That's why I must return to Heaven's Edge. I'm going to take a quick drink here, so I'm going to mute myself for just a moment. Why can't you just search the estate yourself? The estate is abandoned and sealed with powerful containment enchantments that only the Count himself can. This is not the main reason. The main reason is that Count Arendelle is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into his house, even if I found a way to spells. That's a serious matter. A matter that threatens the reputation of my Church of Iomade, and my own organization in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade and are still dealing with the consequences. Your presence will give my investigation necessary legitimacy, Commander. But there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring an independent third-party investigator to this case. Independent but well-respected, and you fit this role. So you suspect Darren is hiding something? That he is to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions so that it doesn't affect the investigation. There's a saying among my colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice, and prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that Count Arendelle wasn't suffering from demonic, the most common malaise in our country. Elrond himself examined the boy right after the tragedy. Didn't sense anything wrong. Did you question Darren? I did, but the Count insisted he couldn't remember anything about the incident due to severe shock. He saw the demons at the very beginning when they appeared at the celebration to announce the onset of the plague and victims. He also witnessed the death of his mother, Silena. That was all he would tell me. He had found the young Count sleeping like a log, or in their chambers, having drunk about half the family until all by himself. There's no reason to disbelieve him. Fine, I'll help. What do you need me to do? Thank you, Commander. Now I ask you to speak with the Count and tell him that you wish to see Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I will join your escort when it's travel to the estate. When we get there, I will also require your help during the investigation. You'll have to follow me, observing my actions as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll remain here for a while. Let's see if there's anything else. Nope.
There are many roads to success.
Look at this loot, buddy. I think is over here. Oh, we failed. So there's a perception check right here. I think it's a fairly hard one, but the box is actually locked anyways. And for some reason we can only use R. Like, we can't use Camillia's lockpick, we can only use our lockpick to try to open it. So we wouldn't have been able to open it, but let's grab some loot. We'll come back and talk to Sociel in just a little bit here. There you are. So, how do you like your new role, Advisor? You also enjoyed poking me with a stick, don't you? Imagine it. Me, a Crusader. If my dearest cousin hoped to teach me a lesson, she managed it perfectly. An assignment I couldn't avoid without losing face. This idiotic journey leading straight into the demon's maws. I could have been on a pleasure boat right now with the loveliest songstress and Pitax on my arm. A bottle of the finest Keonan wine to keep us company. But did you also receive a fraction of that power? Looks like it. I genuinely hope that getting away from you was the end of it. If your gift truly did come from Iomade, then giving me a smidgen of that power was a very subtle joke on her part. I had no idea that our divine Lightbringer of Mendiv even had a sense of humor. Don't get me started on my many acts of sacrilege against her. That obscene engraving, the truth about the test of the Starstone, is the tamest one by. I'd love to visit Heaven's Edge. Oh, I was just about to mention it myself. I've been thinking, now that I'm in the middle of this whole crusade nonsense, I simply must devise new ways to have fun. With all the recent commotion, my birthday completely slipped my mind. What if we were to celebrate it at Heaven's Edge? It's not far from here. You'll get to enjoy a banquet in a bona fide haunted house. Since you're my superior and I'm your advisor, I am obliged to ask your permission to leave for the festivities. And I want to invite you too. I'm sure the commander can free up an afternoon when the soldiers leave. Alright, deal. Perfect. You'll have a ball. I'll make sure of it. Let's go up here real quick and look for some other stuff to loot. There's something up here as well. Is there one more? Okay. Talk to Sela.
Hello. So, what do you reckon about everything that's come crashing down on us? All the responsibility, command, this new power?
This is what I was born for.
I envy your confidence. In a good way. It's great to believe that everything is going the way it should. I'm still frightened by what happened in the Grey Garrison. Were we really chosen? By Iomade herself? You know, back when I was a snot-nosed kid who just started down the path to becoming a paladin, I imagined once or twice that I was going to do something heroic. The lights would shine down on me, the trumpets would sing, I'd hear the voice of the goddess, or at least her herald, you know? I'd be informed that I had been chosen for a great cause. But that's the point where my imagination always failed me. Somehow, it really happened. Without all the trumpets or the herald or even anyone explaining what I had to do. Though it's clear as day, my place is here, in this demon-ridden wound. Quite a lovely war going on, in fact. Endless, I hear. I'm gonna need some time to wrap my head around this. Spare me an hour and I'll crawl into some dark corner and whine about my hard lot. What can I tell you? I cry easily.
Alright, well, thanks for talking. We're out. I don't think these guys say anything, so we'll... yeah.
I will guide.
Oh, you whiner. Grab this loot.
Focus on the goal.
Oops. Oh, we failed the perception check here as well. Just have Nenio
Watch out for trouble.
left to talk to and then Silsi. Ah, boy, there you are. Very good, just in time. You'll be delighted to know that I need you for an experiment. So, the Grey Garrison stands roofless. Demons are running for the hills with their tails between their legs. Vendiv's queen, what's her name? On the tip of my tongue. Ah, yes, Galfrey, is scurrying to and fro. And all this is somehow connected to you, my loyal follower. Thus far, there is no scientific evidence of your exceptionality, if one discounts blind faith in divine intervention, which I do. We, people of science, refuse to believe in the inexplicable without any proof. We are the ones who explain the inexplicable. And therefore, open your mouth and say ah for me. Alright, your throat's fine, tongue looks perfectly normal, your breath, smell is in line with regular functioning of the digestive system. Now for your teeth, no detectable alterations. By the way, did you know that many individuals, while being wholly civilized representatives of their races, still have an amazingly powerful bite? Are you really trying to find a correlation between fang length and civility? With the good of science, I look for correlations everywhere, and in everything. How can you prove there's no correlation if you don't bother to look for one? I will say nothing. Moving on. Alright, what do we have next? Ears. Let's check your hearing. Testing. Your hearing is fine. Was fine. But don't worry, it's scientifically proven that it should return to normal soon. Next. Eyes are clear, posture is satisfactory, limb length is standard, no lice. Boy, you are the picture of health. It's a pity. I was expecting to find some anomaly. Well, now, let's assess your mental state. Imagine a hypothetical situation. You are a tree. Two squirrels have found their way into your hollow. Are now copulating. What do? I'll do precisely nothing, because I'm a tree. An unconscious act of withdrawal, along with a lack of trust in your own abilities. But perhaps just a healthy dose of pragmatism. On to the next question. Another hypothetical situation. Or a tomato. You have just been picked from the vegetable patch and put into a crate. You know that today the cook will use half the tomatoes from your crate to make soup. What do? There's nothing I can do, I'm a tomato. An unconscious act of withdrawal, inability or unwillingness to see something bigger behind something small. Alright, I understand. On the surface, it appears you don't really believe in your ability to change things. But in fact, you are a strong pragmatist who knows perfectly well what he can and can't do. Your reasoning is that of a mortal, one who is capable of achieving a great deal, though he would deny even that. On that note, I deem this experiment complete. Thank you for your participation. Yet you remain a puzzle to me. I love puzzles. One of these days I will solve you completely, unless I forget. Now I have time to answer your questions. Come on, ask away. And we're done. Right, let's see if there is anything that shows up on our map to pick up yet. We have talked to everybody besides Social. I think we have to go in both these buildings yet, so we'll do that as well. We'll do that first, I guess, before Social. Got some loot to pick up here, including a recipe for a glowing croissant, which we now know.
There are many roads.
Well, let's go talk to Leoder real quick again. He has one extra line, I believe. I've asked Darren about the estate. He's going to celebrate his birthday at Heaven's Edge, so we can go there as guests. A celebration? That's far from ideal. It'll be rather inconvenient for me to conduct the investigation with all the guests around. Thank you nonetheless, Commander. When you decide to go, I will join you. Alright. One last building to go in, or a tent. I believe Foreign doesn't have anything. Kyoto we can't talk to until Vasily is not with us anymore. Well, Commander, you've caused quite the stir. Everyone thought Canabras was done for, but the gods have other plans. I was quite a blaze over the Grey Garrison. All the vermin running with it between us. Who's this boy with you? So these, I believe, same as spoke with him when we spoke with him in Canabras. Let's go chat with Social.
Hello again. I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. It's a pity I wasn't there at the Grey Garrison to witness your feats of strength with my own eyes. The flash, however, could be seen miles and miles away. Some people were frightened of it, thinking that the demons had blown up the remains of the keep. I, for one, knew immediately that it was a good sign. The light above the city showed us that there was still hope.
You wanted to discuss something with me, right?
Yes, I have a personal request. Before we undertake our journey and leave Canabras behind, I would like to visit Martyr Zacharias' cemetery for a funeral. It's not far from here, and it's important. I would like to pay my respects to my friends from the Temple of Shaylin who died defending the city. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would like you to come with me to honor their memory. Their friends and family will be at the funeral, and perhaps the commander's personal presence will bring them comfort. I know that you are burdened by many cares right now, so I understand if you can't find the time. But if you could, I would be sincerely grateful.
Now, who are you, and how could you possibly be of use to my army?
My name is Soziel Vanek. I am a cleric of Shaylin, the Eternal Rose and the Goddess of Beauty. Yes, I know that many people would consider me useless in a war. This is not a usual war, though. Just consider our enemy. The Abyss and his demons are the very embodiment of everything evil and ugly in the world. Perhaps a disciple of kindness and beauty might come in handy. I have no doubt that we will win this war, Commander. We just have to. It is our destiny. My role is to help you, and all those standing by your side in this struggle, to survive and flourish. Everyone deserves the chance to find peace and happiness in the world that they are defending so selflessly.
What are you painting on that empty canvas?
My brothers and sisters in faith. They sent me for help, and then they saved my life, Commander. If the Prioress hadn't ordered me to escape the city and seek help, I would have died right along with them. Instead, I met Queen Galfrey on her way to Nerosian, and hurriedly returned to Canabras, only to find my friends dead on the steps of our desecrated temple. I want to draw them the way they live on in my memory. Wise, beautiful, and loyal to their goddess and their city to the very end.
I hope you'll last longer than your brethren when the real battle begins.
Do not speak ill of them like that. They did everything they could. It's not their fault that the odds were so stacked against them. Now it's my duty to make sure my friends and tutors did not die in vain. I will honor their sacrifice by making this world a bit more beautiful and kind.
Well, what made an artist enlist in the army?
Perhaps I am a true artist, or simply an amateur who defaces canvases in my spare time. My goddess is a patron of art, so painting is part of my prayer, and I put all my heart into my pieces. But I am a cleric above all else, so I must also tend to others. I went to war because here's where I'm most needed. Sure, I could be painting idyllic landscapes and offering empty prayers to my goddess, but that won't stop people from dying. My goddess has no tolerance for false piety.
Well, it was nice meeting you. I'll have to
You
go.
must be rather busy indeed. Leading a crusade all by yourself is no joke. I still believe that you are up to the task. This war has been raging for 100 years, but you've given us a chance at victory.
Alright, I think that covers us for the camp for now. We are running out of time here, so we're gonna do some crusading before the end of the episode. Save her right quick. So we got 2 Crusader armies. Take this one into and get them grouped up here. And we're also going to assign a general. So there's 3 different kinds of generals. There's mage, archer, and the one we're not seeing here is the fighter one. What we're going to do is, this first army is going to be primarily infantry and physical range damage, so we want one of the archers. Out of these 3, I think I probably want Al-Mahdi the Rooting Wolf, but there is one other one. I just want to see what the other one is. The other one has flare something. But let's see if we can't find her and check what she has, just for sure. What did he... Oh, so she has Master of Maneuver and Flare. So she starts right away with the ability to have 4 different types. I think I do want the Al-Mahdi guy then. So he's going to start with offensive training. All units in the army have +2 bonus to damage per level of this feat, and Stone Throw, which is just to target a person and throw a rock. And it happens to be a siege ability. But I guess I don't really know. I know that there are some of these things that specifically affect siege abilities, but I'm not sure which ones are available. So, Al-Mahdi the Green Wolf is our guy. And again, this army we're going to primarily build for archers, ranged physical damage, I guess, and infantry. Let's get more archers in there right away, and get as much infantry as we can as well. And instead of Crusader Army 2, let's read this. So, I just like naming my Crusader armies Deus Vult because, whoops, hit the hotkey by accident there. Because that is what the Latin Crusaders used to say all the time. So here we go, into our first little battle. Not sure if we'll be able to make it. They changed it a little bit. Used to be able to bring armies up from the rear and they wouldn't impact your movement. Now it does impact your movement. So I'm not sure if we will be able to fight the next group, but we'll definitely be able to kill this group. Well, up here. Shoot these guys. And we'll kill these guys. Having defeated a band of cultists who had driven the captives from Canabras and made the ruins of Valus's gift their temporary base, the commander's army celebrates its first triumph. Fortunately, the demon worshippers have killed all the citizens and gathered their belongings into a huge pile in the middle of the camp. We got some extra finance points. That's going to fund us the remainder of the infantry guys that we were able to recruit but couldn't pay for before. And we'll just have them catch up. I can just do this. The other army here right quick. So yeah, we lost one movement because of that, so we'll see if we can get to this other one or if we're going to run out of movement. No, we can't quite get to the next demon army. So that's going to be it then. Oh, wait. So I thought I would start camp, but I... Right, back in the camp. So, I do think we'll call the episode here. Next episode, well, I guess between episodes, I'm going to clean up the inventory. So all of our magic stuff that we're not going to equip right away, we'll get rid of. I'll walk through and see what we're going to equip and get that equipped to the people that are going to use it. Next episode, what we'll kick off with is getting the level and the mythic abilities for Ember and Woljif, and then we'll do Social's quest, and then we'll drop Social off. We're going to put Darren on the bench for Social's quest, and then after we finish that, we're going to switch Darren in for Social and do Sila's quest. We'll kind of go from there after that. So, if you have made it this far in the video, I thank you so much for spending the time with me today. If you liked what you saw, please click on the like button. If you would like to see more of this type of content, please subscribe to my channel. And otherwise, have yourself a great day, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.